Hey there, folks. Bill O'Leary coming to you in this video. And the question I'm going to answer here is how a survivor's trust works in estate planning. So I'm going to talk about three things, answer three questions. One, what is a survivor's trust? Two, when is a survivor's trust a great solution? And three, when a survivor's trust may not make the most sense. So quickly introduce myself. My name is Bill O'Leary. My firm is Legacy Planning Law Group. We're here in Jacksonville, Florida. We focus on three areas of the law, so just three. So we do those all day long. Estate planning, number one, wills, trust, estate, that sort of thing, powers of attorney, number one. Number two, elder law, basically estate planning for seniors, helping to preserve assets from long-term care costs is the principal driver. And then number three, administering estates. So a loved one has passed away. So a probate administration may be administering an existing trust. So the survivor's trust. What is a survivor's trust? Well, it's basically a trust for the surviving spouse, and it can come about really in one of two ways. First, let's say a married couple, while alive, they put together a trust together, one trust between both of them, what we call a joint trust, usually a revocable trust, a joint revocable living trust. And a revocable trust is used for a variety of reasons, including avoiding probate at death. Okay, so things passed smoothly and easily, and let's say protecting a child's inheritance. It's a great way to do that, either protecting from the child themselves, maybe they're not financially responsible, or even if they are, protecting the child's inheritance in case the child gets divorced or in some sort of car accident lawsuit, think that. So that's the sort of the general purpose of putting together a revocable trust. So now, as I said, most married couples will put together one trust for both of them, a shared trust, we call it a joint trust. Both of the spouses, as the ones establishing the trust, are in complete control as the trustees. They are the co-trustees of the trust, and they're also both the beneficiaries of the trust. So then the question is, okay, great. With a joint trust, what happens when the first spouse passes away? Well, generally speaking, there are a couple of things that could happen, just broad brush. The first thing, and by far the most common, is that the trust assets stay in the same trust for the benefit of the surviving spouse. I mean, this makes things very easy for the surviving spouse because he or she does not need to establish a new trust. It was already established when both of them were alive, okay? So the trust remains there for the surviving spouse, and that is what is commonly referred to as a survivor's trust. Makes sense. It's a trust where the surviving spouse is the sole trustee and the sole beneficiary. And the surviving spouse continues to have complete control over the trust. In many situations, especially couples in a first marriage, the survivor's trust makes perfect sense, where it continues to be revocable or changeable in the hands of the surviving spouse. Now, what about a second marriage situation? A little different, a little bit more involved. Let's say a couple is in a second marriage and one or both of them have children from a prior marriage that they would want to provide some inheritance to. Would leaving everything to the surviving spouse in a revocable survivor's trust, leaving all of it into a revocable survivor's trust at the first death, would that be a good idea? Well, sometimes it might work, but a lot of times what one or both of them want is some more concrete assurance that the surviving spouse is not going to change up the plan. They want some concrete assurance that there's going to be an inheritance left at the end of the day, at the second spouse's death, to go back to their children from the prior marriage. And they don't want to rely on sort of a wink and a nod saying, oh, don't worry, when you die, I'm not going to change up the plan. I'm not going to cut out your kids from your prior marriage. Okay, so again, a lot of times spouses in a blended family situation want more concrete assurances. So what does this planning look like? Well, we can still do a joint trust. We often do that while both are alive. But then at the first spouse's death, not everything is going to go into a revocable survivor's trust, but instead, at least some of the assets, roughly half, will go into a different kind of trust that is an irrevocable trust, something that can't be revoked or changed by the surviving spouse. And this irrevocable trust, this irrevocable bucket, think of it that way, it goes by different names. It might be called a bypass or credit shelter trust, or It might also be known as a marital deduction trust. They operate a little differently, but both are irrevocable. That's one common characteristic that they share, which means, again, it can't be changed or undone. And so then with this irrevocable trust that may hold about half of the assets, yes, the surviving spouse can and often is the trustee of that trust and a beneficiary of that trust, but not with unlimited access to the money. Again, it's there to ensure that there'll be something left at the end of the day for the children from the prior marriage of the first deceased spouse. And then the other half of the assets will be completely controllable by the surviving spouse in that survivor's trust. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about how a survivor's trust may work in estate planning and maybe how we can help, we'd love to talk to you. So as we do in all these videos, we invite you to go ahead and schedule a free 15-minute discovery phone call with our team by going to the registration link at the bottom of this video. Click on it, takes you straight to our booking calendar. Or if you wanted to go to our website, legacyplanninglawgroup.com, click on the blue book your free call button, takes you to the same booking calendar. Just pick the day and time that works best for you. So this is Bill O'Leary signing off for now. Go make it a great day and a better world.